we're going to be talking about really the fundamental thing that is causing the loss of human freedom. And as sad as it is to make this statement, here's as simple as it gets. Human freedom is being destroyed and lost at the rate that it is being destroyed and lost at for one basic overarching reason. Human beings, unfortunately, have come to a point in their consciousness where most of them no longer know the difference between right and wrong. That's it, folks. That's it. If you want to know why the events that are happening, that is the causal factor right there. They do not know, not believe or think or just have an opinion about. They do not definitively know the difference between right and wrong. And there is such a thing. The people who are telling anybody out there that there's no such thing as really a difference between right and wrong, and oh, this is just further polarizing people, and you know, when we make it about right or wrong, we're adding to the problem. Wrong. There is such a thing as right and wrong. There is such a thing as objective morality. Okay? It is based in natural law principles. And when we started this show 78 weeks ago, one of the first things I talked about was the ideology known as moral relativism, which is destroying the people of the earth. When I then went into all of the methodologies of mind control and helped people to understand that it is dark occultists who propagate all of these mind control methodologies, and what their ultimate religion is all based upon is moral relativism, on the shows that I did on Satanism and dark Luciferianism. This is their foundational ideology, that there really isn't any such thing as right or wrong. It's all relative. It's all based on what we think, our preferences, based on the current situation at the time. And if you believe that, you are under mind control put there by dark occultists. If you believe that there is no such thing as objective right and wrong, you are under mind control. And that is the problem. That so many people actually believe in moral relativism. That's the problem with the people of Earth. And that's why the people of Earth are going into deep slavery. And I'm choosing my words very deliberately. Okay? And people will not like to hear this. They will rebel against this in whatever way they can, because they want to abdicate personal responsibility to know the difference between right and wrong, and then to choose the right. They don't want that responsibility. They want to claim ignorance. I didn't know. I didn't know as I was hoarding people into work camps that was the wrong thing to do. I thought it was fine. I didn't know as I was signing off on all of these bad loans. I didn't know. I didn't know that I was basically taking away these people's rights to speak and make their opinion, voice their concerns and opinions, that I silenced them. I didn't know that was wrong. I was just doing what I was told. I was just following orders. I was just doing my job. How long are we going to let this fly as an excuse, as a people? We heard that at Nuremberg. The Russian secret police that worked under Stalin claimed that. It's just a job. I wanted to keep working so I could feed my family. The Schutzstaffel who ran concentration camps were saying that. Well, our government was telling us it was okay. People behind all of these loan frauds and all of the rape of the economy are saying, oh, but my superiors are just telling me to do that. It's okay. That's company policy. And then they just do it because it's just pass the buck down the line. Just abdicate your own responsibility to know the truth, to know right versus wrong, and then choose right. They're trying to say, oh no, we don't have that responsibility. That's someone else. I'm just a foot soldier. I'm just a person pushing a pencil, or I'm just a person carrying out the actions that my owner tells me to do. And we think that's acceptable, that that's okay for somebody to just continue to abdicate that personal responsibility and say, well, they're the ones actually doing these things, that they're not responsible for doing them. Nonsense. Bunk is what I say to that. And that's what you should say to that if you have any understanding about the real dynamic that's taking place here. You should call people on that. You should call their BS on that, because that's exactly what it is. And it shouldn't fly in any kind of a moral society for someone to make claims like that they're not the ones responsible, even though they're the ones actually doing the action. Well, someone else told me it was okay. Think about this, folks. This is as common sense as it gets. See, because that's ultimately what we're talking about here today, is common sense. That's a key phrase that's going to be coming up. So that's the dynamic. People really don't know the difference between right and wrong. They don't know what their rights are, and they don't know what their rights are not. And I told you when I started the section on natural law, I told you two things. And remember my words. This is the most deeply occulted information on the earth. And it's some of the most basic. But it is the most deeply hidden truth. You're never going to hear anybody talking about this on television. You won't hear this on the nightly news, okay? You won't even hear it amongst some of the top alternative media. This is the most occulted information in the world. This is the information that the dark occultists who are running the show know and are using against people as a weapon, and ultimately are trying to get people not to ever look at. This is what they want hidden from your sight, which is what the word occult means. Hidden from sight. Okay, another form of mind control is trying to make one word associated with something that it's not really associated with at all. And one of the best forms of mind control is associating the word occult with evil, because it means no such thing. It means hidden, because it is hidden knowledge about objective morality and the workings of natural law, which if you do not understand, you can only create chaos. You can never create a world that you want, truly, in which you live and are free from self-imposed suffering. We're doing this to ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. No one else is doing this to us. In our ignorance of morality and natural law, we are creating this heinous, hideous situation of the loss of freedom and the slow spiraling descent into servitude. We're doing it. When people cannot refute something that is based in truth and based in principle, they will just attack the messenger. That's it. And it's always done by people who don't want the personal responsibility of knowing the truth, knowing right versus wrong, and then choosing the right. That's who always does that. They want to be absolved of the responsibility of having to choose the right when given the choice between right and wrong. They want someone else to choose that for them, and tell them, here's what you're going to do, go do it, and they say, yes, I'll go and do that, and then they can blame it on this other person. And that's all it comes down to. And I don't care, again, I told you, I don't care what time period in history we're talking about. That ideology, that way of being in the world, no matter what time period, no matter what people, no matter what land, is the ideology of a Nazi. I don't care whether you call them British redcoats. I don't care whether you call them people in waging tribal warfare against others just to eradicate the opposing tribe in some region in Africa someplace. Okay? I don't care whether we're talking about communists. I don't care whether we're talking about any form of radicalized police state controllers, no matter where they were. Roman centurions, doesn't make a difference. It's the same mind state. It's the same mind state. I'm going to do this whether it's right or wrong if I get something out of it. If somehow I benefit. It doesn't make a difference who I'm harming, who I'm hurting, who I have no right to be doing these actions to. I'm going to make the decision willfully to do it anyway. And 9.9 out of 10 times, I'm going to point the finger externally when asked, why were you acting like that? You don't have any right to act like that. The action is wrong because it results in harm to someone else when you had no right to cause that harm. I'm going to point the finger and say, that person told me it was okay. And there's nothing anybody can say. No matter how much you want to say, oh, I agree or disagree with politically what happened during that time of the world or why these actions were taken, nobody can actually refute the wrongness in morality of the actions of these people and claim that they are not pointing the finger and saying, that person told me it was okay. Because they're a mindless follower. That's all it comes down to. And I want to be harsh about how I'm wording this. It's deliberate, harsh language because people need to get used to not hearing garbage, politically correct speech. You need to hear hard, harsh language when it comes to evil, when it comes to deliberately choosing wrong just because you think you can get away with it. That's all these people's mentality is. And that's what a socially Darwinistic mentality is. There is no such thing as right or wrong, good or evil. It's what you can get away with. That's what moral relativism and social Darwinism is at its core.